Welcome to the Brew Crew Review Podcast, the show by fans for fans of your Milwaukee Brewers.
All right, welcome to the Brew Crew Review Podcast. Joining me is Scott, and this is Craig. Vince will be joining us in just a bit, and no one knows where Chad is. So, how are you doing, Scott?
Doing all right. Could have been a little better week for the crew, I suppose, but overall, not too terrible.
Yeah, a little bit of tough sledding here. The Brewers were on a nice winning streak that coincided in the middle of last week. Obviously, it's always nice to be able to play the Pittsburgh Pirates, it seems, if you're a Milwaukee Brewer fan. But with that being said, we had a little bit of difficult time then over the weekend with the Braves. We lost that series, but took one of the three games. And the same thing, then had to go to Cincinnati to the lowly Reds without their two best hitters, and Joey Votto and Jonathan India, and we still lost that series as well, one out of three games. So a little bit disheartening. The cool thing about, I guess, I think we may have Vince joining us here.
Yeah, bye guys. Sorry I'm late.
Hey.
I was on a call for work that went over a little bit.
That's glad to have you. Better late than never. In fact, we just kicked this thing off. We went over the last couple of series for the Brewers, and we're taping this on Thursday, May the 12th. And so the Brewers are having an upcoming series here this weekend in Miami against the Marlins. So anyway, just recapping a little bit, we were talking about the Cincinnati series, and unfortunately we dropped that one. But on the last day of the series, on the Wednesday afternoon game, which a lot of heat in Cincinnati and the balls were carrying, and it was the Brewers did lose the game. I think it was 14-11, but Christian Yelich hit for his third cycle as a member of the Milwaukee Brewers, all of them coming against the Cincinnati Reds, and he tied the major league record for the most cycles of any player in modern history with 3. So pretty huge accomplishment, and a rare one at that.
Yeah, very exciting.
Sorry, Scotty, go ahead.
Too bad it happened in a loss. No, it's too bad it happened in a loss, and not a good loss either. But obviously, great for him, and not only that, but I think we've been saying for a while now that as far as like just the types of at bats that he's having anyway, he's definitely starting to come out of that sort of 2-year slump he sort of had. That's definitely a good sign. But yeah, good for him.
Yeah, it was I think the first cycle in Brewers history that was hit during a loss. I think I saw that stat from one of your interns, Scott, which is unfortunate, but pretty incredible. He joins a list of 5 guys, I believe, in the modern era that have attained 3 cycles in the course of their career, which is incredible, and the first guy to ever attain it against the same team. So, I think we were talking about this in our pre-production meeting, but you've got hitting a cycle is always an amazing stat. It's just kind of weird. It can be fluky though, and but to hit 3 seems to suggest some level of completeness to your game. So I was just glad to see it. And one other thing I'd be interested in seeing is the amount of years between cycles for some of the other guys on that list. And Scott, I think that your interns are researching this, but Christian's last cycle came in 2018. So to do it this season, it's not that long after, but 4 seasons separating things. I think that's kind of interesting as well.
Yeah, and I think both of his other cycles against Reds came in that same 2018 season, where of course he was named the MVP of the league, which was pretty awesome. The exciting part of it is Christian Yelich is still under contract to be a Milwaukee Brewer through the 2028 season. So it's very possible that if he can somehow secure another cycle in the next 5+ seasons, he will be the sole record holder as a Milwaukee Brewer of the only player in history to ever hit 4. So it's something to I guess, have as a goal maybe. Obviously winning games is the number one goal, but that would be kind of a cool tidbit because as I was saying, I don't think there's very many things that a Milwaukee Brewer holds a major league record of. And most of them, well, of course, for all you longtime Brewer fans, obviously Hank Aaron was a Milwaukee Brewer late in his career, and he was the all-time home run leader for quite a few years before he was eclipsed by Barry Bonds. And then Raleigh Fingers, of course, held the all-time saves record for quite a while, and he's been surpassed in this more of an era of saves. And I don't even know how far down the list he is now, but he was a long-time all-time saves leader, a lot of saves coming as a Brewer. But I, as far as my research and some of the research Scott's interns did, the only other all-time major league records that are tied or owned by a Milwaukee Brewer, I know are just recently, and a lot of them came from they both came from Burns' Cy Young award-winning season last year, and that's striking out 10 consecutive batters in a game. He's tied for the major league record on doing that last year in a game against the Cubs. And then also to begin the season last year, as everyone will probably remember, he had 58 consecutive strikeouts before he had his first walk. Corbin Burns did for the 2021 season. So that he owns that major league record as the longest streak to begin a season for a starting pitcher. So there are two of them, but outside of that, there's not, so it's kind of a cool feat. And hopefully things are looking more positive for the Brewers coming up. But one thing I was going to mention is these are some stats. Again, Scott, you have some great interns finally working for this week. Just as far as rarity of things, these are the numbers I looked up there. In Major League Baseball history, there's been 334 cycles, 315 no-hitters, 106 immaculate innings, 55 hitting streaks of 30-plus games. And one of the most rare, of course, is there's only been 23 perfect games in Major League Baseball history. Unfortunately, none by the Milwaukee Brewer. But to put things in context, to have 3 cycles is pretty amazing accomplishment. So,
yeah, certainly is. Certainly is. That's pretty awesome. It was a fun game to watch. I will say that. I know that we were texting with each other, and was Chad on here? I don't know if he was on this text thread or not, but it was fun to watch that game with y'all via text. And it was obviously it didn't end the way that we wanted it to, but it was kind of one of those games that was enjoyable to watch despite the end result.
Yeah, absolutely. And we really thought that if we didn't give up like 6 insurance runs to them in their top half of or their bottom half of the 8th inning, that we could have a chance to actually win that game still. But I'm a little bit, actually that game kind of highlighted, I guess, the weakness that I think exists on what do you call it, the front half of the bullpen. I know everyone refers to the back half of the bullpen as like your closer, your setup guys, and your lefty specialist, whatever. But the middle inning guys or the mop up guys, I really feel like the front end of our bullpen is a little bit weaker than in previous years. And to add to that unfortunateness is that Jake Cousins is on the IL possibly for an extended period of time. It is probably recommended that he possibly even entertain the option of getting Tommy John surgery, unfortunately. But I think he's passing on that now and going the other route, which doesn't usually fill me with much hope either. But I don't have very much good feelings about him pitching any meaningful innings for us anymore this year, unfortunately. So maybe that Trevor Gott will step up and fill his old role. In kind of covering the 6th, 7th inning of important games. But anyway, what are your thoughts?
And Craig, that kind of explains too why his numbers weren't as good this year. In the few limited outings that Cousins had, he didn't look quite the same as last year. It was almost like something was wrong, and I guess the medical tests kind of bear that out. This could have been just a physical issue, and he wasn't awful, but he certainly didn't look like the Jake Cousins that we got to see last year. And this would explain a lot.
Yeah.
Well, and like you said, when Tommy John is on the table, he's seeking a second opinion, obviously to hopefully avoid that. But there usually is no third option, which is like, oh no, just throw again next week. That doesn't happen. So he's going to be out a while, and that's kind of disheartening.
And it leads me to believe as we move toward the trade deadline, obviously it's only trending toward the middle of May, and we're not anywhere near to the 2+ months out from the trade deadline, obviously. But I think that it wouldn't surprise me that the Brewers eventually look to add some bullpen pieces to the roster moving forward. So we'll see about that. So any other observations about I guess one other accolade and positive thing to focus on here from the past few weeks is that Willy Adames and Rowdy Tellez were actually named back-to-back weeks Players of the Week, MLB Players of the Week. And so that was only the sixth time in franchise record that two Brewers have shared Player of the Week honors. So I guess that's quite the accomplishment, especially both coming from the offensive side. And those two guys, I think, in particular, I know we had this conversation very recently on podcasts, like who really are our middle of the lineup hitters, are the hitters in our lineup that we trust most. I think it's cool to see Yelich bouncing back to some form of his former self. And so I think he's in that mix. But these two guys, Willy Adames, who is solidifying what he did for us after coming over about a year ago via trade, he's continuing that and is an awesome addition to our offense. And then Rowdy Tellez, I think, is on the way to solidifying himself as an everyday first baseman rather than any type of platoon role, as he, I believe, still currently leads MLB in RBI, or the National League at least in RBI. So as far as that, back-to-back Player of the Week, congratulations to both of them. And I have some hopes for offense going forward, I believe, especially with the return of Luis Urias, who doesn't seem like he's really missed a beat from last year. And he really looks like he always puts together some really good at-bats. So I think adding him finally to our lineup after he missed the entire month of April is also a nice shot in the arm that our offense will need. So I'm pretty hopeful moving forward, that's for sure.
Do you think that we're still going to be looking for a bat at the deadline?
Oh, yeah.
I guess either one of you. Yeah, I do too. I think it's still got to be a priority for us. I think that we have to. And I think that our offense is above average as is, but I do think that we need to supplement it. And we saw that kind of bear out against really good pitching in the postseason last year.
Yeah, and there'll be some names that emerge to target as we move closer to trade deadline. Obviously, we could strike at any time because, as we just pointed out, our front office went ahead and upgraded our offense with Willy Adames, and I think it was late May last year, or early June, late May, so it could come at any time. But I don't expect anything to come until closer to the deadline. And as far as target,
that was May last year, though, Craig. That was kind of fun because it was right before our trip together, our Brew Crew Review annual road trip, and very excited to see where we're going to be heading this year. And I remember sitting in Clearwater Beach with Scotty and you, and I was thinking about Willy Adames and how cool it would be to see him as a Brewer. But anyways, yeah. So I know that it was May because that was before Memorial Day.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Scott saved that seagull, and then Willy Adames saved the Brewer season, so it's pretty cool.
Yep,
definitely.
Exactly.
It's a little interesting right now. I guess we have apparently we've scored so far down this season just because of the onslaught of runs that we've been scoring, mostly at the Reds and Pirates' expense. But right now, anyway, we've scored more runs than any team in the NL, and I mean, that's usually a pretty good metric is how far, like, obviously how good your offense is. But having said that, I just don't see our offense as being anywhere near, that top tier of offenses in the league. So it's a little bit scary. I mean, I don't know. It was frustrating to see a team as inferior as the Reds put up so many runs against us. And I guess I was a little bit concerned as well that, although Urias is back and he did homer, which is great. This first really big play anyway was probably making that diving catch to preserve our lone win against the Reds, a lone win in which I would have really liked to have seen Josh Hader maybe come out one out earlier, as opposed to giving that out to Perdomo. I mean, I understand that we're playing the Reds, but like all these wins are important, obviously. So that was a little bit upsetting, but I guess we have him on a strict regiment, apparently.
That's an interesting point you make, Scott, because that actually threw up red flags to me when that happened. I mean, obviously, I get that closers are there for the save situation, but with this Reds team and that part of, I really felt that we should use Hader even just for that one out in that eighth inning with runners in scoring position and a game on the line, where we went with Perdomo, and and then just figured out who else we were going to use if Hader didn't want to come back up in the ninth or whatever. But see, it harkened back to when we used to have Knable and use Josh Hader kind of to put out major fires that were happening. And I think that formula worked really well. I almost thought maybe, I think that ship has sailed on that one. I think where Hader wants to be that lockdown closer, and Devin Williams maybe would fit that other role. But I mean, Williams has been creating a lot of traffic on the bases. I'll just be nice and put it that way. Because he obviously has, he's been striking a lot of guys out and limiting damage, so to speak, but he has not had very many clean innings, so to speak, this year. And it's a little bit of, he's adding stress to Brewer fans, that's for sure. So, but just getting back to that point, it would be really nice to have someone besides Perdomo to come in. And get that really important out in a crucial spot in a crucial game. But no offense to either of the Perdomos. But anyway, we'll see. I think our bullpen will need to be addressed and our offense need to be addressed. I think I joke with Scott that right now the one trade I would make, if we possibly can, would be to trade our dugout bell, which you guys point out obviously even comes on the road with us, which is just horrific to me, to trade our dugout bell for Josh Bell maybe, and just call it a straight up deal. I think that would work out really well for everyone involved.
Yeah. What about, Craig? Would your hatred of the dugout bell make you trade the dugout bell for David Bell, Red manager, former Brewer?
Absolutely. We could throw him in the front office somewhere and lock the door for all I matter, as long as we get rid of the stupid dugout bell. Because
even with Derek Bell, former Padres and Blue Jays and Astros outfielder, Pirates outfielder.
I was not a fan of him at all. That's a tough
Albert,
one.
Albert Bell? Yeah, I would definitely.
Albert Bell is definitely. I guess I'd rather put the dugout bell away in a closet than bring on Albert or Derek Bell, actually. But what can you do?
What about Buddy Bell? Yeah, okay. All right, I'll stop.
There's a lot of bells. Jay Bell, yep, a lot of. But this
Buddy
dugout bell. I mean, I get that you want to create like a thing and a motivational tool. It's just I think that it can be done without completely pissing off all your opponents at home and on the road. I think that could be something else could be thought of. And it was also revealed, I was listening on the radio, one of these broadcasts, and it was revealed on the radio that they actually were looking for the bell or something like the bell to try to find one for a while, and then they found one on Amazon. The one that they literally ordered on Amazon.
Yeah,
that's great.
I was going to say I could find one in about 10 seconds here on Amazon. I bet probably even cheaper on eBay.
So I'm sure that they have a pretty solid return policy. So hopefully the Brewers can take advantage of that and send that thing back. But anyway, all right. Well,
Craig, you expressing such a position on this, I think that deserves a poll question. Scott, could you and your interns put a poll question up on our Twitter page, Brew Crew Review 1 on Twitter, about whether or not our fans like the Brewers dugout bell, and if they hate it, and side with executive producer Mueller.
I think I can probably get an intern to do that. I personally, I just look at it. I don't want to skew the poll. So if you guys are listening to this and you want to quick hurry and vote, you better hurry, because I only put these polls up for a day. But
okay.
I mean, could you imagine like if the Cardinals decided to just bring a bell out or whatever, like anything, like just bring a big horn or something like that, like a big bicycle horn or something, and they just run up and just go like whenever they do something, I would just be like, I cannot stand this team. I thought I could not hate them any more than I do, and like I would just absolutely lose my mind. I don't know.
We're 0 for 2 so far. 2 guys very against the bell. I'm kind of undecided. I don't really hate it, but I don't really love it yet either. And we'll see what happens. I'm not really. I don't have an opinion yet. I'm still in limbo. So I'll take the positive side just because it'll be different than you two. So we'll say it's 2 against and 1 for the bell at this point. But
a cardboard cutout of Craig Counsell with a little a la Major League would be much better. Every time someone does something fundamentally sound, they just tear off a piece of the Craig Counsell thing. think that would be.
I don't know what type of spring breaks you did before you met us, Craig, but no, I think I prefer the belt to that.
Or maybe Wendy's stealing cream, whatever. I mean, something
There
else.
you go. There you go. Oh man.
Anyway, so all right, well, this one, let's do this. Coming up, our next 3 homestands. Let's go over all this. In the next 9 games, we play the Marlins in Miami this weekend. Then we finally come back home to AmFam Field for 2 sets against the Braves early next week, and then the Nationals. So why don't we try to do our predictions for all 9 games coming up on how do you think the Brewers will do during these next 3 series, and hopefully to right the ship as we're coming off 2 losing series coming into the Miami Marlins this weekend. Scott, do you want to start off
first, right? Yeah.
I'll try to be optimistic, and I'll say 5-4. I really hope that we get 2 or 3 against the Cardinals. I feel like we have some unfinished business with them yet.
But we're playing the Marlins, Braves, and Nationals.
Oh, whoops. Sorry, I'm looking at that next week. I'm already looking at that. Okay. No, I'm still going to say 5-4. I'm just going to say exactly. You know what? I meant to say Braves instead of Cardinals. That's it.
Speaking of the Cardinals,
Nice.
Real quick, Vince, I just want to interject. Speaking of the Cardinals, I know we just lost an embarrassing series to the Reds, unfortunately. Well, luckily the Cardinals just lost their series as we speak to the Baltimore Orioles at home. They just lost a series at home to the Baltimore Orioles, so at least they're keeping pace with that. Us on that. So, all right, sorry to interrupt, Vince.
That's good. Yep, that's good. I say we win 2 out of 3 from Miami, 2 out of 3 from Atlanta, and 2 out of 3 from Washington.
There you go. I'm going to
winning series, boys.
I'm going to go 5-4 too. I don't know exactly where we're going to get the wins, but I'll go 5-4 too. I think that Atlanta always plays us tough, and Washington's a little bit of a wild card, and Miami is actually better than I think some people thought they'd be. They've got some pretty good pitching. And yeah, so we'll see.
Craig, I did get a note here, and this note says, "Hey Vince, I just wanted to give my predictions. 2 of 3 from Miami, 3 of 3 from the Braves. Wow, and 2 of 3 from the Nationals. Thanks for all you guys do. Sincerely yours, your anonymous source, Tom Carter. Please do not say my name on the air."
Oh, thank you, Tom.
He should have put that up. He kind of buried the lead. You know,
Mr. Carter, 7-2.
He can't say though, like,
just sort of read it.
Don't say my name. Yeah, well, at least you can read it. That's good.
T. Carter, he's always been known as the optimist. So thank you, Tom, for that.
I know. Yeah, if it's on the teleprompter, I'm going to read it, guys. Sorry.
Yep. So in the meantime, the warm weather has finally arrived, at least here in the Midwest. Hopefully, the bats heat up, and so far it looks like that's the case here for the Brewers. And I think our pitching has to hold up. Before we wrap it up, I guess I would say so far this season, there's a little bit of it's still early, but do you guys have any concerns for this season, the rest of the season, when it comes to Brandon Woodruff, who's off to a rough start, or Freddie Peralta, who's also not totally on track yet either?
I don't, to be honest. I think that these guys have earned a little bit of a leash. I'm not totally concerned. The velocity is still there. No, I'm not. I think that they'll be fine. You just anecdotally too, I think that you've got, you hear guys talk about them like Omar Narvaez. I heard an interview with him, and he was talking about just how Woodruff stuff was topping still. And I don't think that it's an area of concern. I think that we're sitting on May 12th, and by the end of the season, that they'll be just fine.
Yeah, Scott.
I mean, I don't know. I think they're both obviously great pitchers. I think that obviously last year there were a lot of Brewers starting pitchers that had career years, and obviously it's hard to replicate that. And so I think a little bit of regression is probably to be expected. Having said that, like I don't expect either one of these guys to have like an ERA in the 5s or something like that, at the All-Star break. Like I think they're going to get it together. But I guess also, I really think it's important that the one pitcher that is actually still pitching extremely well, Corbin Burns, is not getting any run support at all. So I'd really like to see him maybe get a W for the first time in about a month.
Right.
It feels like it anyway, on this next series as well. So hope that happens.
Yeah. And I'm hoping to attend one of the games next week at AmFam Field. I believe one of the games against the Braves. So hopefully I can bring home a win to us. And Vince, are you going to any games anywhere, Major League Baseball or minor league baseball this week?
No, I'm not. I wish I was. On Monday, I've got to unfortunately take a work trip to South Sudan, of all places. So I will be gone for the entire week next week in Africa. I will be back the following week, and I will be going to one of the games at that point against Astros against the Cleveland Guardians.
Nice. Okay.
But not this week.
And then Scott, I don't know, you probably have a bunch on your docket, but I know for sure that tonight you're going to the Las Vegas Aviators, a AAA affiliate of the Oakland A's game tonight for Bark in the Park night with your puppy dog.
Hi, Scotty. That's so cool.
I think Bark in the Park was yesterday. I think tonight's $2 beer night. So
they're both good nights.
I'll get more use out of that one, to be honest. But
I think you can bring your dog. I think you can bring your dog either way. So you guys hopefully have a good time tonight.
She's staying at home.
Scott, what's your plan for the beer night? Do you drive out there? Do you Uber out there? What's your battle plan going into it?
It's a long drive, so usually for $2 beers, I think I'm good for about 3 in a game, and then maybe grab a bite to eat or something like that afterward before the voyage home. But it's all about pacing yourself and knowing your limitations and knowing when to say when.
All right, that sounds like a great game plan, Scott. So, all right, remember to drive safe, West Dallas, and to stay classy, and go Brewers.
Go Brewers, guys.
Go Brewers.
Chad, thanks, Scotty. Thanks, Craig. Thanks.
It was on the teleprompter that way.